a lot of work to do here. We've got a lot of work to do. Now, what we're going to do tonight, this evening, ladies and gentlemen, is I want to share with you, after having a lot of discussions, all right, with folks that were consultants, with other leaders that were part of Zeek Rewards. And again, my intent is not to throw anybody up under the bus. I need you to thoroughly understand, from my perspective, why I strongly believe that GoFund Places is going to be here for the long haul. But I know we've got to address some concerns because we've got a few similarities. We've got a revenue sharing compensation model. That's a similarity. Even though there are some minor differences, some enhancements to our model, we've got to address the fact that one of the things that we did with Zeek Rewards is we bought samples. Now over there, they were bids, and we gave those samples away to generate revenue sharing. Over there, we call them points. Over here, we call them credits. All right, so we're buying samples also. We're giving them away to generate credits. So if we just look at it from that standpoint, what's the difference, T Le Mont? What's the difference? We're going to get into that. All right, so we bought samples there, and as we gave them away, they generated revenue sharing. They called them points. We call them credits here, okay? We placed an ad a day. Well, we're going to do that here. Now, you don't throw out the baby with the bathwater. One thing we saw happen in 18 months is Zeek Rewards went from nobody knowing who they were to, at the end, they were the 130th most visited site in the world. Why would you want to throw that away? No, you don't want to throw that away. So you see what they did good, and you build upon that, and then you see where there were elements of exposure, and you do things to make sure that you don't have those same elements of exposure. Real quickly before we get into the meat of the content is, again, I want to make sure that we understand that we've seen this in this industry before, meaning we've seen in this industry, give me a moment. All right, I just made a little flub because I was not video recording. I am now. I just made a little flub. So let me just repeat just a little bit here for those who will be watching this on a recorded basis. What we're doing with this particular training, ladies and gentlemen, if you're watching this on a recorded basis, is we want to share why we believe the GoFund Places revenue sharing model will pass the regulatory test. We know just by being in this industry that any company that builds to any size will eventually have the regulators come and check them out. That's just a par for the course, part of doing business, okay? That doesn't mean that a company's done anything wrong. When the regulators put that test in front of GoFund Places, we want to pass it. We want to pass it. Now, there was a model called Zeek Rewards that did phenomenally well. Many of you that are on this webinar, you were either a part of that system or you certainly were aware of the system. And the question that we've been getting from quite a few leaders that represent a lot of people on their teams is, well, what's the difference? Because there's a revenue sharing model. That's similar. There's the fact that in Zeek Rewards, we bought bids as samples, gave them away to customers to generate revenue sharing, what they call points, what we call credits. Well, here we buy lifestyle dollars. Here we buy lifestyle club membership cards. We register customers for free, just like we did there. We give away these samples, these lifestyle dollars, these lifestyle club cards. Wait a minute, T Le Mont, what's the difference? Then we have the situation where over there we placed an ad a day. Now that was phenomenal for them because they became the 130th most visited site in the world. We definitely don't want to throw that out We definitely want to have that here with Go Fund Places. So what we're going to really highlight then is from what we read and what we spent quite a bit of time talking with consultants in this industry, and be mindful, I was once a part owner of a network marketing company, so I have some of these connections. I'm not saying that I know it all. I was not in the room when the owner of Zeek Rewards did whatever he did, where things came to an abrupt end. I'm not going to throw anybody under the bus. We still haven't heard anything from the management team, and probably from a legal perspective, I can understand why. So that even me, I'm going to have some levels of speculation, but I believe when I share what I share with you, that you'll probably come to some reasonable conclusions that we might be on the right path. And then we'll talk about some conversations that we've had with consultants that are consulting for Go Fund Places and some tweaks. See, we understand a few years ago, we've seen this. What we saw a few years ago is there was a binary compensation model, that was extremely profitable for companies. Now, what you and I need to understand is that when you hear names like Gerald Never, when you hear names like Kevin Grimes, these are attorneys in the MLM industry, when you hear names like Dr. Keith Lagos, he's a consultant in the industry, their clients are not you and I, the affiliate. Their client is the company. Their client is the company. Please hear me. You are not their client, Troy. Carolyn, you are not their client. I'm not their client. Their client is the company. Now, the way this works is, as a company, as I was part owner of one, you would hire an attorney and or a consultant, and particularly attorneys, you'll have them on monthly retainer. And that monthly retainer is a nice chunk of change. Our particular attorney, we didn't have Gerald Nera, but we had another attorney, one of the top in the industry, was $5,000 a month. Now, does that attorney want to be kept on retainer? You better believe it. Why? It was $5,000 a month. If we didn't need him that month, if we didn't even so much as shoot him an email that month, if we never picked up the phone and called him that month, guess what he still got? $5,000 a month. And as our company would have grown, unfortunately our company never did, but if our company would have really grown, then that monthly outlay would have increased, because it would have been assumed that we would have had to draw more on his experience and to have he and or his staff to do more stuff. So understand that T Le Mont Silver Sr. as an affiliate of Zeek Rewards, formerly, or as an affiliate of Go Fund Places, I'm not represented by Gerald Nera. I'm not represented by attorney Kevin Grimes. I'm not represented by attorney Jeffrey Babner, who was our attorney when we were part owners of a network marketing company. Who do they represent? The companies. The companies. Now, why do I bring this up? Because when you take a look at the binary compensation model, the binary compensation model proves to be extremely profitable. It's sexy and curvaceous for the field, and some people make a lot of money through the binary compensation model. But by and large, the binary compensation model has a lot of gotchas, and those gotchas mean that a lot of money reverts back to the company. So you may hear that this company is going to pay, this compensation plan is going to pay this huge overwhelming percentage, but there's a lot of breakage, meaning a lot of people don't qualify to get the money, and so the money reverts back to the company. So binary compensation plans were extremely, extremely profitable for companies that had binary compensation plans. Now, who do these attorneys and these consultants work for? They work for the companies. When I was a part owner of a network marketing company and we went to go speak with our consultant said to us that the affiliates were a means to an end. What do you mean, Mr. Consultant, Mr. $25,000 for the day consultant? What do you mean, Mr. Consultant? He said, what you are looking for as a company, what you're looking for are customers. And he went on to say that in this industry, that the average lifespan of an affiliate with any one company Now, obviously, we didn't have a revenue sharing compensation plan that was in the marketplace back then. We saw a much greater retention rate with our affiliates with a revenue sharing compensation plan. So his point was that the affiliates, with affiliates typically with any company, you got to get a few customers to qualify for certain parts of the compensation plan. If you got 2, 3, 4, 5 customers per affiliate, and an affiliate in the 30th day or the 60th day, they quit, they lost focus, they started promoting something else, but they had those 2 or 3 customers that stayed on the books. And now this affiliate is removed from the situation, is no longer getting paid. By the way, some of that money goes right back to the company. So the whole thing that the consultant told us when we were part owners of a network marketing company is the affiliates are a means to an end. What's the end? Customers. He didn't want to say that what's his name? Warren Buffett, who went on to purchase Pampered Chef. I think he purchased it for about $1 billion in the direct sales industry. He didn't care about the affiliate count. He was interested in the customer count. He was interested in the revenues generated by that particular company. Now, the reason I bring all this up, and I'm going somewhere with this, is because binary compensation plans were extremely profitable for the companies. These attorneys and consultants typically are on retainer. So what happened was these binary compensation plans came under fire. Many companies who had these plans got shut down. When a company gets shut down, what happens to the retainer for the attorney for that particular company? It goes away. So the attorneys and the consultants start saying, wait a minute, this is a profitable model for the company. We've got to find a way to legitimize this binary compensation model, because if we can figure out what the regulators don't like and make it so that these binary compensation plans stand the test of time, then companies that have a binary compensation model will do well, and they'll keep us on retainer, and we'll keep getting our $5,000 a month or $10,000 a month or $50,000 a month or whatever it happens to be. I'm hoping that part right there is starting to make sense. So what happened is the attorneys and the consultants started getting together, comparing notes to see what the regulators did not like about binary compensation plans. There were a few quick things. There were a few things. Many binary compensation plans at one time, they would have what they call flushing. And this was a practice whereby binaries, by the way, if you're not familiar with them, you would recruit one on your left-hand side and one on your right-hand side. You'd have 2 sales teams. They would go to an unlimited depth. But in order for you to get paid, you needed to have so much volume on each leg, okay? And at that time, earlier on, if you didn't get enough volume to balance out in a certain period of time, sometimes it was in a week, sometimes it was in a month, then you lost all the volume. And so all of that volume, the company didn't have to pay sales commissions on, and affiliates started crying bloody murder. Hey, well, what happened to my volume? My volume's gone. That's not fair. That caused some regulatory issues because affiliates started complaining. Then there was another issue with some of the binaries where you could purchase a whole bunch of positions, and the design was you purchase a whole bunch of positions, so maybe you can make some money as opposed to earning those positions, and regulators didn't like that. They saw it as front-loading. They saw it as being more of a money game as opposed to a business designed to get to end-user customers. Well, once the attorneys and the consultants started seeing, after a few of these companies got shut down, what the rulings were and what the challenges were, they went to work to come up with a compliant model. And so now you've got companies like USANA. USANA's actually had a binary for a long time, all right? And that binary has stood the test of time. They're one of the top 14 revenue-producing companies in our industry. All right, they do, I forget how many billions of dollars a year in sales. Here lately, in the past 5 to 7 years, a good number of companies in the product-oriented spaces, particularly nutrition, all right, came out with binaries. Mona V, binary. Bima, I'm pretty sure, binary. There's a company that just launched that I was given the opportunity to be a master distributor of. I would have been the grand poobah. I would have been at the top of the company. The whole company would have been under me. It's a healthy coffee company. Binary. Binary. So the point is, we've seen this before where a compensation structure seemingly comes under fire, but all it really took was for the attorneys and consultants to start to figure out what the regulators didn't like, and then start to draw up the marketing plans with what they didn't like in mind so that they could cover those areas of exposure and then implement the pieces that they knew the regulators would be looking for. And that's what I believe, ladies and gentlemen, that Go Fund Places has done. Now, we've got to be unpolitically correct here, and we've got to take a honest look at Zeek Rewards. And I know this is going to be painful for some of you because some of you were making money and you had built some of your lifestyle around that, and abruptly it was gone. So I'm pouring some salt in the wounds, and I do apologize for that. Others of you, you had made purchases, you were building your point totals, and you had not yet started withdrawing money, but you were counting the days to when that was going to happen, and all of a sudden it was gone. And maybe for the first time, it was the first time you were seeing that you were going to be generating some revenue. So I don't mean to pour salt in the wounds, but we've got to understand the differences. First off, you need to know there is nothing wrong with a revenue sharing model. It's very difficult to find a successful company in the direct selling, network marketing, MLM industry, whatever you want to call it, that doesn't have some type of revenue sharing. Typically, it's when the company puts something like 2% or maybe 3% of the global sales, the global revenue, into a pool. And normally, the only people that can access that pool are the grand poobahs. You know, the best of the best. You know, Ryan Bevers, my buddy, who's personally sponsored a couple hundred folks already in Go Fund Places, yeah, he'd probably get in that pool. Troy Rudd, King YouTube, who if you go to Go Fund Places or Go Fund Rewards, you're going to see his videos all over the place. Yeah, he may very well get in that pool. But Joe Average, you've got no shot in that pool with most companies. Susie Average, you've got no shot in that pool with most companies, okay? So we know the revenue sharing model has been a part of compensation plans for probably decades. It's not revenue sharing that's an issue. Now, all Zeek did and all that Go Fund Places is doing is they're broadening that pool. They're saying, hey, we'll share up to 50%. That's what Zeek used to say. That's what Go Fund Places is saying now. But because there's a similarity, this is why we're having this webinar, so you can see what the differences are, okay? So up to 50% of the global and the daily commissionable sales volume. Note my wording here, okay? Commissionable sales volume. That's what's going into the pool. See, when someone goes and they make a purchase of a watch from the Lifestyle Mall for $100, 50% of that purchase is not going into the pool. No, that $100 watch, the company can't afford to put $50 into the pool. There's the cost of the watch. There's the sending that watch out. There's other factors in that, but there's going to be some profit margin. And with that profit margin, they're going to put a portion of that profit margin into the pool. That's where this commissionable sales volume comes into play, okay? All right, so now, nothing wrong with the revenue sharing model. So when we went back and we started to take a look at what the Securities and Exchange Commission, what they were alleging against Zeek Rewards. And by the way, hear my words, alleging, hear my words, alleging, hear my words, alleging, okay? Time won't permit me. I was going to go through the document, but time just won't permit me because I want to get to some more important things. You can Google it and look at this yourself. Here's what the complaint was, and that's all it was a complaint. And I'll tell you a little bit about why I believe things happened so abruptly, because they shouldn't have happened as abruptly as they did. One of their complaints was that 98% of the revenues of Zeek Rewards came from affiliate purchases. Now, I will tell you, I am not going to the bank with that number. I do not look at that number as gospel truth, because as I read the document, there were a number of inconsistencies. One inconsistency was on their website, they said, we shut down this $600 million Ponzi scheme, as if someone stole money from somebody. And yet they go on in that same document and say there was $225 million in the bank, and the company had paid out roughly $375 million in commissions. Well, wait a minute. When you add it up, $225 in the bank, $375 paid out, that's $600 million. So they didn't walk away or steal, as a Ponzi scheme would seem to suggest. They seem to suggest they hurt people, they took people's money. So I'm not going to necessarily bank on this figure, but I'm going to use the figure since that's what they have in their documentation, their complaint. They said 98% of the revenues that Zeek Rewards generated came from affiliate purchases. If anything, if that's anywhere close, that is problematic. That is problematic. The purpose of the end result, the end game for the company is customers, customer transactions. Yes, affiliates are customers, but there needs to be customers outside of the affiliate base, or you're going to run into trouble, whether you're running a binary, a unilevel, a matrix, whether you are a telecom company, whether you are a product-oriented wellness company, whether you're in the healthy coffee space. Ultimately, you need to have more customers than you have affiliates. It's considered a customer-to-rep, customer-to-affiliate ratio. So one of the things that regulators are looking at will be a customer, a healthy customer-to-rep or customer-to-affiliate ratio. So what a regulator is going to ultimately want to see, if there are 500,000, active affiliates, regulators are going to want to see that there are at least 500,000 customers, and then ultimately 1 million customers. So let's assume the affiliate base doesn't even move, it just stays at 500,000, and ultimately maybe even 1.5 or 2 million customers. So one thing is they're going to want to see a very healthy customer to rep ratio. The second thing they're going to want to see is a healthy customer to affiliate revenue ratio, meaning how much of the company's revenues is coming from Joe, Mary, Susan, the affiliate, because they're interested and excited about the compensation plan, versus Martha, Kate, and Tyrone, who are just customers. See, what they want to see is that there is a legitimate product that the consuming public would find worthy of their dollars, whether or not there was an income opportunity associated with it. What they want to see is that consumers would consume the product even without a compensation plan. Okay? Now, so one of the things that the SEC alleged, I don't know if these numbers are true, but if they're anywhere close, it was problematic, that 98% of the revenues of the company came from affiliate purchases. This is why it is so important that we have customers. Yes, we're going to have customers as free customers that register, but it's going to be important that we also have paid customers. So when we talk in a little bit about a couple of simple performance standards, I need you to understand that those simple performance standards are going to help us have a a model that's here for the long term, not just here for 17 or 18 months. I ain't interested. And I'm building too hard. You're building too hard. You're putting too much time and effort in. I'm putting too much time and effort in for this to be an 18-month run. All right. So this was problematic if this were true. I'm not saying it was true. We're talking about a government agency. You know they always tell the truth, right? Y'all see that debate last night? Did they both tell the truth? I'll leave that alone. All right. The second thing that if any of it is true or even closer to was problematic is the SEC said that only 1/4 of 1% of the samples, the bids purchased throughout the entire system for that 18-month period were ever used. If anything like that is true, I don't know it to be true. I'm certainly not going to depend on what they say to be true. But if it was true, that's problematic. Because what this would be saying, ladies and gentlemen, is nobody saw value in the product. And the truth be told, if Mr. Regulator had knocked on my door and put the test in front of me, if Mr. Regulator had said, T Le Mont Silver Sr., how long have you and your lovely wife Karen been in Zeek Rewards? And we said, well, we've been since March 23rd, 2011. So at the end of the day when Zeek closed doors, it was about 17 months. And if the Mr. Regulator had said, T Le Mont Silver Sr., were you a product of your product? Something that this industry has taught me from day one, and I lost focus. I backslid. I repent of my network marketing sins. I pray that I'll be forgiven. Because I lost focus on that. I forgot that the income opportunity is only as good as the product offering, which is why the very first few videos I put up on YouTube had nothing to do about the compensation plan. It had everything to do about the product offering, which is why when we first did our first few webinars and we had really nothing to go on in terms of a PowerPoint that we can show, we showed Michael Jordan. The income opportunity for you and I is happens to be Michael Jordan, but Michael Jordan never won the championship without the product offering. Scottie Pippen. The product, that is to remind me, the product, the end result, customers, the end result, customers, the end result, customers, the product. That's why when we do a live presentation, I'm telling you I'm not going to do a 20 or 30-minute presentation. If you're looking for that, I'm not your dude, because I'm going to spend at least half that presentation talking about the product. I know you want to talk about the income opportunity, but just talking about that got us in trouble last time, didn't it? The product. If they had put that test in front of me, I probably could count on one hand how many times I went into the penny auction myself. If we would be honest, we would say, man, I've been to Qubits and look at that nice penny auction. And then I went to Zeekler and oh my heavens. If we would be honest, we would say, we didn't really have any great products in there. That was problematic. That was problematic. I'm saying this. I said that this would be not politically correct, but I've got to be honest with my audience, and you need to be honest with your folks. Now, I don't expect Mike Driggers or Randall Williams to ever come on a conference call like this and say what I'm saying. They can't. That's not their role. But I'm not corporate. I'm simply an affiliate like you, and my allegiance first is to my family. My allegiance second is to my internet family. Because if I do right by you, it won't matter what the company is. You'll want to hang around. All right, so here we go. Give me a moment. The third thing that they said, and I'm going to address all of these and what Go Fund Places is doing. The third thing they said, by the way, if you want to check this out, this is on page 13. Page 13, number 49 of that SEC document. This right here, 1/4 of 1% was on page 12. I didn't make a note of the number of, I guess they did a number of, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. These are the things that they were alleging or what have you. They didn't allege 49 things. They were just going through kind of explaining the model from their standpoint, so on and so forth. So page 13, number 49, they made a statement that basically said that if everyone set their system to receive all of their daily rewards as cash. In other words, if everyone had said, I don't want to use my daily reward, I don't want to take that and buy more samples and give away, I want to take that as cash, as a commission, they were saying that that was going to be problematic. Now, they didn't understand the system. If that had happened, then the company wouldn't be paying the same type of ratios that it was paying out on a daily basis, because it wouldn't have had the revenue or the same type of revenue to pay. All right, but those are the three things. Oh, my heavens, what just happened? Presenter. You're going to probably just see a whiteboard now. So give us a moment. Okay, so the three things real quickly. Let's just put this on your whiteboard. Quinn, can you see do you see a blank slate right now? See a blank whiteboard?
Yes.
Okay,
yeah,
all right. So here was the complaint. 98% of revenues came from affiliate purchases. That's what they're saying. Number two, they were saying that less than 1/4, or about 1/4 of 1%, which is an extremely low number, of the bids that were giving away as samples were ever used. Now, what that says to me, if that number is true, or anywhere close to true, is that, one, why I come to the network marketing altar, I sinned. I did not use my own product. And if I didn't use my product, and the speed of the leader is the speed of the group, there's a good chance that a lot of folks on our team didn't use the product. And if we didn't use the product, then how could we expect customers to use the product? Okay? All right? And then the third thing was that they said is, if everyone set their system to receive, let's call it full commissions, from their daily rewards, essentially, this is not the words they use, but I'll use this, essentially, there would be a run on the system. Okay, so now, those are the three main keys that I took from not only the document, but having spoken with several other consultants. Okay, now here's one thing that we understand about the product that Zeek had. We understand that the product, penny auctions, regulators do not like penny auctions. As a matter of fact, one of the consultants at that time of Zeek Rewards, who actually came under fire because he was pounding the pavement, and he was screaming from the rooftop that some things needed to be modified and changed that weren't modified and changed, and that's not to throw anybody under the bus. And he decided to walk with his feet. In other words, he and the company parted ways, and his character actually came under fire. He chose not to try to defend himself, and for a while, I didn't like him either. But I had to remember what one of my mentors taught me. He said, no matter how thin a dime is, it has two sides. When I got a chance to talk to this consultant for about 45 minutes, just he and got his side of things, then it made a whole lot more sense. And by the way, he was right. He predicted there was going to be some issues coming down the pike, and he was right. And just about the same time frame, the time frame he predicted is about when things started to go down. So, with that being said, we found out that regulators in the U.S. didn't like penny auctions, and that they even put pressure on many of the banks to stop processing transactions coming from penny auctions. Could that be one of the reasons why we couldn't get credit card processing for several months? Those of you who were there remember we went about 2, almost 3 months with credit cards not working just right. Okay? Now, my whole point in saying that is that when you combine the fact that regulators do not like penny auctions, and there's nothing that you and I can do to make them like it, and you combine that with number 2, that only 1/4% of the bids were ever being used, that is a recipe for disaster. That is a product recipe for disaster. So one of the things that GoFund Places has done is they said, we're not going to build our model on a penny auction. So I would caution those of you that are entrepreneurs and you're in other businesses that maybe have a penny auction as its sole model, utilizing a revenue sharing compensation system. That system will probably come under fire. I'm not telling you not to promote it. I'm not telling you not to be a part of it. You're big boys and big girls, but be careful. Just understand the rules of the game. When we understand the rules of the game, then we can play to win the game. Personally, I don't see myself promoting, unless there's a major change in how regulators look at these things, I don't see myself promoting a company that has a penny auction as its primary product line. Now, at GoFund Places, we will have an auction, but it's not a penny auction, and it's not the forerunner. As a matter of fact, have you even heard me really talk about it when I do a presentation? No. I talk about the Lifestyle Club membership cards, I talk about the booking engines, and I talk about the Lifestyle Mall. Okay, so we need to understand these things. Now, let's talk about the 98% of revenues coming from affiliate purchases. All right? Now, this is where this becomes vitally important. All right? We're still going to give away lifestyle dollars. By the way, this lifestyle dollar concept, I understand, was a concept that was introduced by this consultant that was put under fire, whose character was tested, who I now would defend his character. I wouldn't have a few months ago, but after hearing his side of the dime, I would defend it. He brought that concept to a company that many of us call the Beloved. Why wasn't it embraced? I couldn't tell you. I don't know, because they've not communicated. I'm not throwing anybody under the bus. So when he was called upon, because Randall and Mike had enough sense to say, why don't we go and get the attorneys and the consultants that have an intimate knowledge of what was going on to determine what the areas of exposures were. By the way, I'm going to tell you a question that I had, that I know many of you had. What happened if we had Gerald Nera? What happened if we had Kevin Grimes? What happened if we had this consultant and that consultant? How did it come to such an abrupt end? I'm going to tell you. I'm going to tell you. I'm going to get there. Lifestyle dollars are an internal coupon, an internal Groupon. And so when you understand that folks will be able to take these lifestyle dollars, and they don't necessarily have to go into an auction, they can go right into the mall, go right into the booking engine, and apply those lifestyle dollars towards the purchase of that product, so that that watch in the mall is the same watch that you would get on Amazon.com. It's the same watch as you're going to get at Target.com. It's roughly the same price. Give or take, it might be a little less. It might be just a little bit more. But when you apply the lifestyle dollars, it's going to become an instant coupon. Now, there are companies like Doobly Networks doing phenomenally well. There are companies like Lioness doing phenomenally well, and they built their models on a 2%, 3%, 4%, 5% cash back mall. We're talking here someone going in and seeing a $800 vacation, being able to apply maybe 200 lifestyle dollars, reducing that down to $600. Let me get out my calculator. In that example, that's a 25% instant savings. On top of the fact that the vacation was already priced at about 50% off the retail price. So this vacation was going to run maybe $1,600 if they went retail. Now they're going to wind up spending $600. In the example of going into the mall, whether we're talking about healthy coffee could be in there one day. Skincare could be in there. By the way, what did Amazon.com used to sell? What are they known for? What are they known for? They're known for books, right? But as they begin to expand, as they begin to have more profits, and they expand it, now all of a sudden you go to Amazon.com and you've got MP3 players, you've got Kindles, you've got books, you've got movies, you've got games, you've got electronics, you've got computers, you've got home and garden tools, you've got grocery, health and beauty, you've got toys, kids, baby. There's nothing that they can't put through this system. Now Mike says I'm not going to put a lawnmower through here, but if it has to do with lifestyle, by the way, could food products be lifestyle? We got to eat. Could maybe some type of gourmet food product? Could some healthy, some type of healthy purified water? There is a product that sits on Amway's shelf that they sold, I believe the gentleman told me, $9 million worth in 1 month. He was the actual manufacturer. He got on a couple of our webinars, and he's now been in contact with Randall. I don't know what's going to go on with that. I'm hoping at some point that some of the products, because he manufactures a number of products, has been in manufacturing for over 30 years, may find their way into our system. Now, if his product can sell $9 million, I think that's the number, dollars worth of water in an Amway system, why couldn't that be here with our own private label? Look at what Amazon.com has become. As a matter of fact, when you see the PowerPoint, I'm already seeing how things have evolved in the few short weeks we've been here. When they first started on the PowerPoint and I was looking at it, they were leading with travel. Now when you look at the PowerPoint, it leads with lifestyle. It's not travel dollars we're giving away, it's lifestyle dollars. Why? Because under the banner of lifestyle, you can put virtually any and everything. So they understood that one of the challenges is that far too much of the company's revenues came from just affiliates making not just affiliate purchases, but sample purchases. If affiliates had been going in making purchases of products from the penny auction, that would have been a slightly different story. They still would have wanted to see more customers, but that would have been a slightly different story. Now, so let me share with you, so lifestyle dollars, product. Now, one thing that Zeek did not do a good job of, it did a little bit early on, but then it stopped doing it. And again, I'm not here to throw anybody under the bus. If you are a shopper with Doobly Networks, you're going to get an email every now and then. You're going to get an email every now and then about some great products that they have for sale. And I often have gone through Expedia to book my airfare. I get emails all the time from Expedia because not only do they book airfare, they also book car rental or what have you. In other words, one of the things that the GoFund Places will do is that as we build this customer registration list, my sources tell me that Zeek had over 6 million registered customers that they're going to promote to that list. Now remember, when someone registers with you, they're tied to you. So if the company sends out an email about some great product in the lifestyle mall, if the company sends out an email about some great travel deal, and your customer is in the email list, and they click on the link, and they buy something, they transact, or they transact on a cruise or transact or what have you, guess what? You're going to get the credit for it. You're going to get the credit for it. But now all of a sudden, look at the database. Zeek, in my opinion, as I sit as a Monday morning NFL football quarterback, squandered an awesome opportunity to constantly be in the face in a non-intrusive way of those customers. Go Fun Places is going to promote to those customers, generating more customers, okay? Now, since we know that one of the things regulators are going to look for will be customers, let's share with you what Go Fun Places is in the process of doing. They're in the process of purchasing a 26-year-old, I'll say young, I hate saying old, a 26-year young travel agency. Let me tell you what I've seen companies do in this industry, because all companies in this industry are going know that they have to have a certain, they want to be able to show, I should say, a certain customer to affiliate ratio. The more customers they have to affiliates, the better. The more customer revenue that starts to come in, not simply because we purchase packages or purchase lifestyle dollars, the better. So I've seen companies in the past that did not have the proper ratios go out and purchase other companies. Some of those companies were network marketing companies. Maybe they were other businesses or what have you that they brought into the product offering. Why did some companies do that? They did it because the company that they just purchased already had a customer base. And because the company purchased that other entity, those customers now helped with the customer to rep ratio. So is this brilliant Mike Driggers, is this brilliant Randall Williams that you go out and you buy a 26-year-old travel agency, one, to increase the offering of the travel part, two, you get to leverage all the customers that travel agency already has. Three, now we get affiliates and non-affiliates alike generating tons of customer transactions. Just in the past month, I went from Central Florida, got an airplane ticket, flew up to North Carolina to be with my brother as he celebrated his 50th birthday. When I got there, I rented a car. I stayed at my parents' house. I then had to fly out from there to California to go to the corporate office to look Mike and Randall in the eye. When I got there, I rented a car. I stayed in a hotel. I then flew back to home in Central Florida. A week and a half, 2 weeks later, I board a plane with my lovely wife. We fly down to Central Florida. When we get there, we stay in a resort-style condominium. We then fly back. Look at all those transactions that would be able to go through the travel agency so I can be a product of the product, and it was a transaction. It wasn't based on me purchasing a package. It's okay for affiliates to be customers too, but with this revenue sharing compensation model, what regulators are going to be looking at are there transactions outside of purchasing a product, because when you outside of purchasing a package or purchasing lifestyle dollars, because we know when we purchase lifestyle dollars and give them away, we generate credits. Are there other products being marketed? Are there other services being used outside of that? Just with myself, I'm already seeing product of the product. My sister is getting married October the 20th. Booked a cruise 2 weeks before Zeek closed out. My gift to you, my loving sister, you're my only sister, you're getting married. Where do you want to go? booked a cruise. I would have booked that through our engine. Got an airfare. I would have booked that through the travel agency. Rental car to go to and from. That would have been booked through the travel agency. Customer transaction, customer transaction, customer transaction, customer transaction, customer transaction. We didn't have that with Zeek Rewards. You want to know what the difference is? Product movement. Nothing wrong with a revenue sharing compensation plan. Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with you having credits and earning a portion of the customer's revenue. The thing is, are their products moving other than just the lifestyle dollars being purchased by affiliates? Give me a moment. So, they were extremely smart because they said, hey, we're not going to build our model around penny auctions. We're going to build it around a $7 trillion industry. Give me a moment. Give me a moment. We're going to build it around a $7 trillion industry. We're going to build it around e-commerce. And I can tell you more and more and more, I believe in time there'll be so many, I believe there'll be millions of e-commerce transactions. Buddy of mine, and I'm not promoting this, I just want to give you a point of reference. A very dear buddy of mine. Some of you hear me talk about Hubert Humphrey being my hero in this industry. At the time, he no longer is now. They've unfortunately they've gotten divorced. But at the time, Hubert's son-in-law, a gentleman by the name of John Benham, was my leader in a company called World Marketing Alliance. My first 5 years in this industry. Didn't make much money, but boy, most of what I know about this industry, I learned from Hubert Humphrey and John Benham. Well, John took a corporate position over with Dubley. He just moved his family, his lovely family, over to Dubai. And, of course, when Zeke went away, I got pitched by everybody, and my buddy John pitched me hard. And he was telling me just how well Dubley is doing. Man, Dubley they are running on all cylinders with a cashback mall. It's an impressive cashback mall. It really is. 2%, 3%, 5%. But it's the e-commerce part that is generating so much revenue for that company. They are doing millions upon millions, tens of millions of dollars in revenue, and they don't have a revenue sharing compensation plan. Now, when we look at Amazon again, will we launch with an Amazon-type store? Certainly not. That's going to grow. But I can tell you already, manufacturers are coming to them saying we want to put our product on your shelf because some manufacturers saw 2 million total affiliates in 18 months, 500,000, so I'm told, active affiliates, 6 million registered customers. Who wouldn't want to have their product on that shelf? All right, so let's go a little bit further here. $7 trillion industry, travel agency, lifestyle mall, we've covered that. The lifestyle dollars, make sure, ladies and gentlemen, you understand the lifestyle dollars incent transactions, okay? Let's talk about this. Let's talk about this. See, this to me goes to the brainiacness, the brilliance of Mike Driggers and Randall Williams. Give you an example. With our monthly subscription, we get lifestyle dollars. With those lifestyle dollars, all right, if you are on a $20 a month subscription, give me a moment. If you're on a $20 a month subscription, if you're on a $20 a month subscription, you get 10 lifestyle dollars. If you're on a $50 a month subscription, you get 25 lifestyle dollars. If you're on a $100 a month subscription, you get 60 lifestyle dollars. Okay, here we go. These lifestyle dollars, you can't give these lifestyle dollars away to generate credits. That was done strategically. It was brilliant. Why? Well, since you can't give these away to generate credits, what are you going to do with them? You're going to use them. The compensation plan should tell you what to do. The compensation plan should tell you what to do. What this is saying is become a product of the product. So since I'm going to be on $100 a month and I'm going to get 60 lifestyle dollars, I can't give them away to generate credits. I might as well go into the mall. I might as well go into the booking engine. And I might as well offset something with my lifestyle dollars. What did that just create? Customer transaction. Customer transaction. Now, I know we still need to have outside customers not affiliated with the income opportunity, but when you understand that one of the things that the regulator said is that 1/4 of 1% of the bids were ever used, and that was problematic, well, doesn't that greatly increase this number? If every single month, could you imagine when we have 500,000? Sure, you can imagine, because we got, what, almost 3 million people pre-registered, and not everybody's going to upgrade and go for the ride. I understand that. But can you imagine when we have 500,000 people on a monthly subscription, and they're getting either 10 or 25 or 60 lifestyle dollars, 500,000 folks going in and making some purchase? Customer transaction, not related to our purchasing a package. Customer transaction. Okay? Brilliant. That was done strategically with this right here in mind. That was done strategically with the fact that only 1/4 of 1% of the bids were ever used. That was done strategically. Brilliant. Next time you talk to Mike Driggers, when you get a chance, those of you who are going to go out to the corporate shindig next week, and you meet Randall Williams, say, "You're a brainiac. I'm in awe of your brilliance." Well, maybe it was them. Maybe it was the fact that, doggone it, they're listening to their attorneys, and they're listening to their consultants. Speaking of which, let's do a segue. How on earth, if we had Gerald Nehrer, the same dude who was there with Amway in 1978, when Amway was taken to task by the U.S. government, Gerald Nehrer was there. I don't know the exact role. I don't know if he was the chief counsel or just part of the attorney team. That part I don't know. But I know that he gained legendary status in this industry because he helped lead the charge. When the U.S. government took them to task, Amway kicked their patootie. Thanks in some part, if not large part, to Gerald Nehrer. He's a fighter. How did they close the doors so abruptly with Gerald Nehrer on our side? You asked that question. I asked that question. It baffled me. How is it that with Kevin Grimes, how is it that it just came abruptly to an end? What was taking a freaking, excuse me, mama, what was taking a compliance course all about if it was going to get shut down? Here's what you need to know. Gerald Nehrer should be the attorney of a company that has a revenue sharing compensation plan. Why? One, he knows how to fight. Why didn't he fight for Zeek Rewards? I'm going to tell you. Number two, he's got an impeccable reputation. The attorney that was our attorney, when I say our, of our network marketing company, was not Gerald Nehrer. If you are, I'm a U.S. NFL football fan, an American football fan, and in that game, you have a receiver catching the ball, and he needs to catch the ball with 2 feet in bounds. And there's sometimes that he barely gets in bounds, and he just taps his toes. And sometimes it's so close that they have to go, they make a call on the field, but they have to go to instant replay. And sometimes it's so close that even with instant replay, you can't really tell, did he get both toes in or not? My attorney that we had when we were owners of a network marketing company would have said, as long as you catch it in bounds, as long as you tap the toes, you're okay. He was a very aggressive attorney. That's not Gerald Nehrer. I know, because I've been in the boardroom with him When I was a top earner with another company, I saw how conservative he was. Gerald Nero is going to say, catch that ball 10 yards from the sidelines. Be very conservative. So how on earth did things get shut down with Gerald Nero at the head? Well, here's what we now know. Here's what we now know. First off, Gerald Nero was not there when Zeek started. He's the one that you want there. Why? Because there was a company that preceded Zeek a few years prior to Zeek called AdSurf Daily. They had a revenue sharing compensation plan. They proved that this type model could be very successful to both the company as well as to the rep base. They too ran into some regulatory issues. On the back end, they brought Gerald Nero in after they had gotten in trouble. My understanding is Gerald Nero was there for depositions, was there and in some of the court proceedings. That's what I understand. If I'm wrong on that, I'm just telling you what I understand, having spoken with some other folks that were consultants in this industry. Okay? Now, who better to bring to bear than Gerald Nero? But here's the thing. Gerald Nero wasn't there when Zeek Reward started. So they didn't build the model with his counsel in mind. He did come aboard a few months into it, and we started seeing some immediate changes prior to Gerald Nero getting there. The way that model worked is that you earned on what they called your points until you received 125% of your purchase. And that's how it was promoted. Gerald Nero said, no. That's an investment. That's going to get you in trouble. The other thing that Gerald Nero said is you got to have customers. You can't earn simply because people made a purchase. There needs to be a sale. Well, then the question came up, well, what about if we use samples like Mary Kay reps, like Amway reps, like Avon reps, where our folks buy bids and give them away to customers? From what I understand, he signed off on that. He signed off on that from what I understand. And so some of you who were with that company back in July of last year, you know that in August of last year, we started having to have some customers. That came because of Gerald Nero. So he was not there when it first started to help build the model so that it would be compliant from day one. It was not compliant from day one. And by the time they started to get compliant, there was already a non-compliant culture in the field. Because it was promoted as 125%, it sounded like, smelled like, looked like an investment. By the time Gerald Nero comes along, it's already permeated in the field, and people are doing spreadsheets based on 125%. And even though the company said stop it, spreadsheets still got spread thereafter. All right. Now, here's the kicker. Gerald Nero wasn't there at the end. What? Huh? What? No. Gerald Nero, my understanding, was not there at the end. For whatever reason, they decided not to keep him on retainer. I don't know why. I'm not going to throw them under the bus, but he wasn't there. Oh, see, now that's starting to explain some things. If you're going to start a company with a revenue sharing model, it makes sense to me to go and get the attorney who has fought, who has a history of fighting and winning, who was there with a previous model, ASD, after they got in trouble and understands some of the complaints against them, and who was also there for a spell with Zeek Rewards before somehow something happened. I don't know what something happened. I don't know. I don't know if he got fired. I don't know if they just stopped paying the retainer. I don't know. What I am told in confidence is he was not there at the end. So when people say, well, because I know Mike Drickers has said, hey, Gerald Nero, and I know some of you were saying, well, what good did that do with Zeek Rewards? Well, here's the thing. Maybe if they had kept him, maybe we wouldn't be having this discussion. Don't know why he was gone. I just know he wasn't there based on my very strong confidential sources. Now, there was also a consultant there. There was a consultant who, towards the end, came under fire. And because I had not listened to his side of the story, I didn't like him for a while either. As a matter of fact, as it relates to GoFund Places, I get a phone call after Zeek is dead, or after Zeek has had its issues, and it appears that, you know, it's over. I get a phone call from a young gentleman talking to me about this company, GoFund Places, and he mentioned that there was a consultant that used to be with Zeek that was now consulting for GoFund Places. And he will tell you that I said, I'm not a fan of that dude. I don't like that dude. Because all I knew was one side of the dime. I said, but folks are going to be looking to me. We've got to provide leadership, so all the options are on the table. I want to be a part of a revenue sharing compensation plan. That much I know. And so I spoke with that consultant and got his side of the dime. And oh, what a different side of the dime it was. I found out that several things he had suggested, and then he started pounding the drums that never happened. And please understand, I love those folks at Zeek. It changed my life. I'm not throwing them under the bus, but you need to know why I sleep good. You need to know why I feel so strongly about GoFund Places. And here are the reasons why. Last December, I was very fortunate to be considered a part of a small, intimate leadership group that would meet with the, at that time, the COO of the company would meet with a few leaders. And at that time, December of 2011, we were told that there were going to be some sales performance standards tied to their revenue sharing compensation. Now, at first glance, you hear that, it's scary. I'm going to show you it's not scary at all. What's scary is not having these performance standards, because we now know what happens when you don't have them. What's scary is when you've got a teammate of yours who's generating 6 figures a month in his hands, and he's starting to change his whole lifestyle as a result, and then that abruptly gets cut off. What's scary is when you have someone who's never made money in this industry after 10 years or so in this industry, who's starting to generate a couple $1,000s a month in her hand every single month, and this is the first time she's ever really seen any money in this industry, and it gets cut off. What's scary is when you've got a couple that's in their 70s that Social Security is not much, and then there's concern about if that's even going to last, that start to generate over $20,000 a month cash in hand, and that abruptly gets cut off. What's scary are the numbers of people that had their hopes and their dreams dashed. Maybe because some counsel wasn't followed. I'm not throwing anybody under the bus, but I want you to understand what's so important. So this consultant says there needs to be some performance standards. And those performance standards, the consultant says it should be at least a minimum of 1% of your, at that point, that was called your point totals. That once your point totals got to a certain amount, you needed to do 1% sales volume. Well, that means if you had 20,000 points, you needed to be responsible for $200 in sales volume for the month. Now you look at that and you say, oh, that's scary. Well, listen. That sales volume could have been you making a transaction not related to buying more bids. In other words, if you had 20,000 points in that system, and those of you who were there, you know kind of what we were looking at on a daily basis as an average. If you made $300 for the day, and you needed $200 in a month of sales volume, and if you could be your own customer, or you could get your mom, your brother, your cousin, or you could buy something as an incentive for other customers to come aboard. In other words, what if you bought something that was $200 and you gave it away as a promotion? What if you bought something for $200 and set up a lead capture page and said, if you opt in, I'm going to give away this $200 value product or service? Getting the sales is not a big deal. And if that had been implemented, we might not be having this discussion. So in December of last year, we were told it was going to be implemented. I called one of my top guys. He wound up having a 1.4 million points because I was concerned that he was going to say, oh my gosh, at 1.4 million points? Oh my gosh, that's a whole bunch of sales volume. 1.4 million points, let's see here. If you had 1.4 million points, 1.4, and you're responsible for 1% in sales volume, man, that's $14,000 in sales volume for a month. I said, oh my gosh, he's going to freak when he hears this. The thing is, he was making about 20 grand a night. He said, so you mean to tell me, in order for me to continue to qualify to get 20 grand a night, I need to make sure I get $14,000 in sales volume? He said, oh, that's the cost of doing business. He'd already formulated the game plan. If he had to buy some things and give them away as promotions to get people to come and take a look at his business, or get people to come and take a look at the auction, that's what he was going to do. It was the cost of doing business. It wasn't hard. It wasn't difficult. It just needed to be implemented. And had it been implemented, just maybe, we wouldn't be having this discussion. So that same consultant is over here with Gold Fund Places. And he said, listen, I'm only going to come as your consultant if you would do what I tell you to do. And if you're not going to do it, I'm not going to risk my reputation. Because my character just came under fire, I just thought, let me just walk away from that. I'm not going to dignify any of that. He said, but if you don't do what I say do, then there's no need for me to be on, I don't know what the relationship is, how he gets paid. I don't know how that works. So there's going to be, once you get to a certain amount of credits in the pool, I've heard 20,000, I've heard 25,000, let's say 20,000, we're going to be responsible for 1% of sales volume. So if you did 20,000 that month, you need to have 200 in sales volume. Okay, you scared? You scared? I just told you how to get it. I just told you how to get it, and you better believe we're going to train on how to get it. Don't worry about having to be a salesperson. And then when he's explaining this to us, he being the consultant, he says, oh, by the way, this also includes, this sales volume includes your personal purchases. I said, oh, really? It includes your monthly personal volume. I said, wait a minute. If I'm on $100 a month, that's already $100 of it? He said, it also includes, because when you refer an affiliate, that affiliate is a customer. So it also includes your frontline affiliate personal MPV. I said, wait. So what if I have 100,000 credits? I need 1% of that, or $1,000 in sales volume. So you mean to tell me I could go in and book a vacation, and that vacation could qualify me for 1,000 in sales volume? Or what if I had 10 personally sponsored? Chances are I didn't get to 100,000 credits. At least I didn't do it very quickly unless I started building a team. What if I had 10 personally sponsored at $100 a month? There's my $1,000 sales volume right there. Are you starting to understand why when we do the presentation, we're pointing people to 100 a month MPV, pointing people to 100 a month MPV? If you can't afford it, don't worry about it. But if you can, $100 a month MPV, because we already understand we already understand that if you happen to fall over, trip over, bump into a recruit, and they have monthly personal volume through a monthly subscription, that goes towards this number. Now, folks can get scared of this number and say, but I'm more scared of my 70-year-old couple building it again and it going away. And if you had taken a poll of anybody that was at Zeek at the time that had any size of a point total, 2,000 points, 5,000 points, 20,000 points, and you said at 10,000 points you need $100 a month of sales volume. Folks were averaging at 10,000 points, they were averaging something like $150 a night in just the revenue. If you would have said you need from $150 a night, you need to be responsible for $100 a month in sales volume. If a person would not do what's necessary to generate $100 a month in sales volume to continue to earn $150 a month, they should not be in the business. Any person that understands any small inkling of business would look at that and say, that's just the cost of doing business. Now, do I believe that you will get that sales volume in time purely organically from the standpoint of giving away lifestyle dollars to customers and customers coming in and making purchases as a result? Yes, I do. Do I believe that when the company starts to promote to all of these registered customers that we will have, and those folks see the power of GoFund places and they're talking about the lifestyle dollars and they're talking about the fund, do I believe that you're going to get that sales volume organically? Yes, I do. If I'm at 100,000 credits and I need 1% and I need 1,000 and I'm a little short, and here I am with that 100,000 credits making $1,000 a night, am I going to go into the mall or go into the booking engine and book a vacation, maybe as a promotion for my top leaders, maybe as a promotion for customers that opted into a list of mine, maybe as a promotion to get a new recruit to join? Hey, the first person who joins me is going to get an 8-day, 7-night stay. Is that sales volume? The answer is yes. If I'm flying out to California anyway, am I going to go through our travel agency and book that flight and book that hotel, don't know what the sales volume figure will be? You know how companies would do like a PV or BV or what have you. Don't know what the sales volume would be. But every time I do that, is that going towards my sales volume figure? Yes. Is this going to be a problem if you follow our lead? The answer is no. I promised you if you would follow, we would lead. That's not going to be an issue. And as a matter of fact, what does that do, ladies and gentlemen, for the dollars coming into the company? Because see, now are you starting to see a bunch of dollars coming into the company that have nothing to do with a package purchase? The compensation plan telling us what to do, be a product of the product? Leaders, what I want you to start doing, Zeke and Jerry Stewart, they're the best I've ever seen at doing this in the field. They would spend, if they made $30,000 in a month, they probably put out $2,000 or $3,000 just for rewards and recognition. That was a cost of doing business. They understood the power of rewards and recognition. So they would incent their team that, hey, if you hit this milestone, or if you're the top person here, or you hit this you're going to get this, you're going to get that. You know what they're going to do? They're going to go into the mall. Hopefully it's going to happen organically, but they're going to do this anyway because this is how they build. This is why they've been such great leaders in this industry. They're going to go into the mall. They're going to find something. They're going to go into a booking engine and find something and give it away to some of their leaders. And that will help generate the sales volume. I want you to think about that. All right, so they put that in place from the start. Now, I've not covered that in any great length in a live webinar because that's more of a training issue. I haven't covered that in any great length because I knew that there were people that would be a little scared and that I would need to take some time to calm your nerves. Will we have very soon a video in the Global Internet Formula back office, our training hub, that details that so that your folks aren't going to be scared? Sure we will. Because what did I promise you? What did I promise you? What did I promise you? I promised you, doggone it, that if you would follow, I promised you I would lead. As well as our other tremendous leaders. Ryan Bevers, that dude's got over 200 personally sponsored folk. Isaac Pagan, over 130 personally sponsored folk. Trudy Gilman, my gosh, that woman had, she and her business partner, Kayla, they had 1 million folks in Zeek Rewards. My goodness. Let's give you one last one here. So Gerald Nerer is here from the start. That consultant that I keep talking about, he's here, and they're listening. He said 1%. He said it last December. It was never implemented. Then it was supposed to be implemented by the first quarter of the year. It wasn't. Not putting anybody under the bus, but it wasn't. Then it was going to be implemented by May, and it wasn't. That there were a lot of things that went on. Maybe that's why it wasn't implemented. There were a lot of challenges the company was dealing with. They ran into some credit card challenges. They ran into some fraud issues and had to shore up their servers and things of that nature. So maybe it was a situation where it was tough to bring out that type of new change because nobody in the industry likes change. Maybe it was tough to implement that amidst the challenges they were having. They had some banking challenges. They went from paying by check, which went smoothly, to having to pay by other methods, which went not so smoothly. So maybe it was just a timing issue. Maybe they felt like they were going to be able to get that worked out. I do know that they were in the process of launching a major customer initiative. They were going to launch a 2%, 3%, 4%, 5% cashback type mall that would have eventually yielded millions of customers. That would have helped to put that customer to rep ratio in line. They just didn't get a chance to do it. But here's the thing that we know is happening with GoFund Places. They're starting with all of that. Now, another standard. Very simple. 2 paying customers every 100 days. 2 paying customers every 100 days. I didn't say a customer had to. Now, we're going to be giving away, we're going to be registering customers for free. We're going to be giving away lifestyle dollars to incent them to come in. I believe this is going to happen very simply, organically. I really do. We will lead. If you follow, I promise you, you will lead. You ain't going to worry about the 2 customers. You're going to get those. I don't have time to cover the strategies tonight, but you're going to get those. Don't worry about that. But I want you to see what would have happened had Zeek implemented this. Let's go back here. Let's go back here. It is, oh, I'm sorry, that was on my other sheet. That was on my other one. It's gone, okay? It was said that of the 2 million affiliates, 500,000 of those were active. What if that company had required 2 paying customers every 100 days? By the way, I've heard 2 numbers. I'm going to err on the side of the highest. I've heard the transaction has to be $20 or $25. I'm going to err on the side of $25. So somebody going into the site and purchasing something for $25. Now, I already know one of the strategies is if you know someone is about to join you, have them join as a customer first. Give them some lifestyle dollars. You get full credit every time you give them a lifestyle dollar as a customer. You get full credit. And now they have lifestyle dollars to go into the mall and go buy something for $25. Not that difficult. I believe you're not even going to. I believe it's going to happen organically. Anyway, okay. Maybe somebody rents a car. Maybe somebody goes on a cruise. Maybe somebody goes into the mall. Look at this though. 500,000. Remember, customer to affiliate ratio. 500,000 affiliates. 2 customers in a 100-day period would mean there would be 1 million new customers. Look at the customer to rep ratio. Now here are your customers. There are your affiliates. Let's assume the affiliate base doesn't move. The affiliate base, we don't grow. Net, we don't grow. But in another quarter or so, in another 100 days, we get another 1 million customers transacting. And what if the average was just 25 bucks? There's 25 million additional revenue there. There's 25 million additional revenue there. What if that average was 100 bucks? That's 100 million revenue there. That's 100 million revenue there. Let's take it out one other time. So inside of a year's time, another million. Inside of a year's time, if they had simply implemented this, 500 affiliates, if that number never moved, inside of a year, there would have been 3 million paid customers. Now what you're going to say, Mr. Regulator? Mr. Regulator, we've got 500,000 affiliates. We've got 3 million customers. Mr. Regulator, we've got all of these millions of customer transactions happening on a daily basis. We've got people booking travel. We've got people booking airfare. We've got people booking hotels. We've got people booking vacation bookings. We've got people booking cruises. We've got people buying watches. We've got people buying skin care. We've got people buying wellness. We've got people buying electronics. Amazon started with some books. Now look at Amazon. T Le Mont, what's the difference between Zeek Rewards? I loved her. Oh my gosh, I loved her. What's the difference between her and Go for Places? Why is this going to last? It looks the same to me. It's a revenue sharing compensation plan. It looks the same to me. We place an ad a day just like we did over Zeek Rewards. It looks the same to me. We get customers registered for free. It's not the same. Not even close. Not even close. Not even close. Let me give you one last one. Let me give you one last one. Regulators are going to love this. One of the challenges the regulators had, if John joined that company with a $100 purchase, on an average night he made about $1.50. Mary joined with a $10,000 purchase. Now Mary did the same thing that John did. Few minutes a day, placed an ad. She got a few extra registered customers, but they haven't necessarily transacted yet. Yet she made $150 for that night. Regulator said she didn't do enough extra to warrant that extra money other than she made a larger purchase. Therefore, it sounds like, smells like, looks like an investment, and we're going to cite you for selling unregistered securities. Now, maybe if Joe Nero was still there, maybe there would have been a fight. He wasn't there. Maybe if Dr. Keith Lagos was still there, maybe there would have been a fight. He wasn't there. I don't know why they weren't there. That's why it came to such an abrupt end. They didn't fight. By the way, real quickly, maybe if the counsel had been followed earlier on to have some banking, since you are an international company now, not a mom and pop operation, an international company, maybe you should have some banking offshore. Then maybe it wouldn't have been so easy for everything to be tied up right away. So now how do you fight if your money's tied up? So, is there any wonder why Those of you who were wiring funds, you were wiring to a Hong Kong bank. You think that was strategic? Nobody's trying to hide from anybody, but they are trying to put in an extra layer. If we ever have to talk with the regulators, we don't want to have the funds, all the funds frozen. You still got to account for all the money, but boys, it's not the same if it's somewhere else. Maybe you don't have your servers here in the U.S., so they can't just come and just shut down your site all willy-nilly. A little bit more difficult to get to that if the servers are in certain areas. Not that anybody's trying to hide from anything, but ladies and gentlemen, I can tell you that this country in the U.S., regulatorily laden. The Zeek model could have been done with no problem in Asia. If all they did was do that in Asia, no problem at all. There's a reason why my wife and I visited another country. If something ever happened to go fund places and they had to say, hey, we're just going to do business outside the U.S., then I'm willing to go outside the U.S. There's a reason my wife and I are on a tour, because we were making too much money for that just to go away. And if it means that I have to call something else home to take care of my family, then doggone it, I'll do it. My first loyalty, my first commitment is to my family. My second one is to my internet family. Well, actually, it's to my Heavenly Father, then to my family, then my internet family. So they said this wasn't good enough. This wasn't good enough. So, strategically, brilliantly, what they said is, they being GoFund Places, they being the regulators said that wasn't good enough. What GoFund Places said is, we're going to allow you to earn credits. Yes, you can make a purchase. Yes, you can give away your sample and thereby earn some credits. But we're going to allow you other ways to earn credits. When you have a customer making a purchase of any sort in the mall, making a purchase at the booking engine, they could have chosen to pay commissions. We'll pay you whatever percentage commissions of the business volume, of the sales volume. They said no, because they're smart people. They said instead of paying commissions, we're going to award credit. Because see, what if John can only make a $100 purchase himself, Mary can make a $10,000 purchase, but John goes and gets some customers. He gets more customers than Mary. He should be able to earn more credits. And so that ultimately he can earn more credits than what Mary got by making a large purchase and giving those samples away. When a customer makes a purchase, you get credits. I had someone on the webinar and I said that, and they just didn't get it. They said, the regulators really going to hate that. Heavens no, they're going to love that. They're going to love the fact that you don't have to make a large purchase to build a very large credit total. That you can do it by rolling up your sleeves. There is a gentleman who just joined GoFund Places not long ago. He was a part of my team. He was personally sponsored by me in Zeek Rewards. When he joined Zeek Rewards, he didn't have a lot of money. He was down on his fortune just a little bit. He made a $110 purchase. He rolled up his sleeves. He joined in about June-ish of 2011, and he was there to the end. By the time we got to the end, he was just under 1 million points. In terms of what he was taking out, in terms of revenue and commission on a monthly basis, he was well over 6 figures a month. He never made a purchase larger than that $110 from his pocket. He is an example of someone who went to work. Now, had he had this compensation model with GoFund Places where he would have gotten rewarded in credits when his personally sponsored paid their monthly subscription, had he gotten rewarded also in credits when his personally sponsored made a purchase of, in our case, additional lifestyle dollars and gave those away. See, not only do you and I get commissions, but we earn credits. So when affiliates When personally, no, not just personally, when affiliates in your organization, as deep as 6 levels, when they perform, their performance could be they paid their monthly subscription. Their performance could be they gave away lifestyle dollars. All right, they were rewarded in lifestyle dollars. That's going to generate commissions and credits for you. And then when they have customers of their own, that's going to also generate credits, obviously at a lesser rate than they would get since they're the ones that are responsible for the transaction. But each transaction could generate credits. Regulators are going to love that. That puts this one aside. See, that would have still been exposure. The way they covered that exposure is by saying when you have customers purchase, you get credits. When you refer an affiliate, that affiliate is a customer. When they make a monthly subscription, that's a customer transaction. You get credits. When you have affiliates in your organization and they perform, they get their daily lifestyle dollars. And by the way, look at the genius of this. All right, with their daily lifestyle dollars, we got to. I won't be able to change to get the questions, but I wanted to make sure that we got this out. Okay, and I know we got to jump on the. Many of you are going to jump on the 9 o'clock conference call. I will be there too. Okay, with those daily lifestyle dollars. Give me a moment. With those daily lifestyle dollars. Hey guys, I'm on a webinar. Sorry about that. Sorry about my family's getting a little loud there. Okay. With those daily lifestyle dollars, remember you can convert up to 60% of those into cash. What does that mean about the other 40%? They stay as lifestyle dollars. What does that mean? That means as you start to build your organization, it is a forced residual. It is forced that teammates are going to have lifestyle dollars. It's going to generate more commissions because they were paid in lifestyle dollars. They can only convert 60% to cash. The other 40% pays in both cash and lifestyle. I'm sorry, cash and in credits. So this is going to generate Joe and Susie average if they just recruit 1 or 2. If they just have a few customers, which we all have to have anyway, that's going to generate plenty and plenty and plenty of credits, even for the small person who doesn't make a large purchase because they didn't have the resources to do so. Okay? Now, here's the last one. I thought I was finished. Here's the last one. The last thing that the SEC said is if everyone in the prior company, if everyone requested 100% of their daily rewards in commissions, they said it was going to be a run on the system. They didn't use that terminology, but that's what I'm using. So you know what GoFund Places did? Strategically, this right here. They instituted a cap so that there's no run on the system. The most you can withdraw from your day's revenue into cash is 60%. There is no limit on the amount that you can withdraw from commissions. Okay? The most you can withdraw from cash, from your daily revenue is 60%. They then put another cap in place, very generous cap nonetheless. The most you can withdraw in a week's time from your revenue is $75,000 a week. There were folks that were making that kind of money, ladies and gentlemen, after 18 months in the previous company. Did you hear me? There were folks making that kind of money. Okay? This is why we have to do everything to protect this goose that lays the golden egg. If someone, after hearing this, says, I don't want to get customers, I love you, please go. I love you. If someone says, I don't want to get 1% sales volume, I love you, please don't come. Because what we want to make sure is that we create a culture of affiliates that are willing to do a little bit. I don't need you to be some grand recruiter, some grand salesperson. I need you to say, hey, I'm willing to follow until I get this thing down. I don't quite get the 1% thing just yet, but I'm going to follow your lead because you sound like you know what you're talking about, because you've got a conviction, because you ain't going to leave me. And I don't care who your sponsor is. You might be orphaned. You're not an orphan. You're part of our family. There'll be other great leaders you'll hear from coming through this webinars. You want to hear from Ryan Beveridge. You're going to want to hear from Trudy Gilman. You're going to want to hear from Kayla. You're going to hear from some of these other great leaders as well. But I promise you, if you follow, we will lead. This is why, ladies and gentlemen, I will sleep like a baby tonight, because I've seen these really just small tweaks that mean everything. These small tweaks that mean everything. I wish I could get to all of your questions. We're not going to be able to do it. I want to be very respectful of the fact that we've got a corporate conference call that starts at 9 o'clock.